type of saying we have here in Australia where we ask, any danger? An example would be like you asking me, hey SJ, any danger of you reviewing the Netflix doco of Mr MvMahon? Now I'll answer that one later. Another example might be, hey SJ, Alpha Pro Wrestling is on again this Saturday near where you live. Any danger you'll be there? Once again, I'll answer that later on. Also, any danger of advertising that direct link to WWE merch? Yes. The code is there on the bottom of the screen. It'll be in the description as well as in the pinned comments. And yes, it does help the channel. Please hit like and subscribe, like quite a few folks have already done, and hit the notification dinger for getting notified. All this and more. G'day wrestling mates, welcome to episode 27 of If You See Kayfabe. I'm your host, Southern Joe, your wrestling mate from down under. A big thank you to everyone who watched my interview with Justin Race, the only son of NWA legend and former 8 times world champion Harley Race. Also a big thank you to Justin Race himself. He was an awesome guest and a great new wrestling mate. Thank you, Justin, also for putting the episode over on your socials. If you haven't seen the interview, I invite you to watch the interview after you finish this episode. It was a great combo and I enjoyed it heaps. So some may ask if there's any danger that I might have seen the new Netflix doco, Mr MvMahon, and therefore whether I'll be doing a recap of this controversial series. Well, the answer is yes and no. Yes, because I've seen the first 5 episodes and half of the 6th and final ep. But no, because rather than my own opinion, which does come from 50 plus years of fandom, I'm looking to recap with a wrestling mate. Now, at the time of the recording, said wrestling mate had only seen the first episode, Junior. So hopefully we can get together and do some recaps in the future. We may end up being the last recappers, but we won't be the least. Speaking of when this ep drops on YouTube, some may ask if there's any danger that I'll be at Alpha Pro Wrestling's 1-year anniversary of events at Pipeworks Market in Thomastown, which will be this Saturday, October 12. Well, it's a hard yes on the night event, which starts at 7 p.m. and doors open at 6:30. I'll put up some details and give them a brief shell soon. It's a possible maybe on the afternoon event. Now, when I spoke about these guys after first seeing them last month, I forgot to talk about what made me an instant fan of these guys. Firstly, every story was told clearly and spelled out in the ring. Nothing was convoluted, and I didn't need a 6-week online course to catch up with what was happening. The moves were crisp, and the athletes were all engaging with the crowd. It was traditional connections of yays and boos. It was done in a manner where the audience felt involved and were a part of the show in their own way. I also had a couple of good chats with a couple of the wrestlers at their merch tables, and I wish someone was recording these chats because they made for good interviews. Now, the tickets for this event are available through Humanitix, which can be reached via their Facebook page. I do know tickets start at $10 for kids and $15 for adults, and tickets can be purchased at the door. Now, speaking of shilling, back after this shill. Many people want to make sure they get proper WWE merch. Now, there are 2 ways this can be done, and I'll show them to you now. Now, see here, firstly, you can type in WWE in your search bar, go to the shop link just like it shows in this demonstration. Or, in this demonstration, use this code and go directly into the shop itself. Yes, it helps the channel. Please use the code and help a wrestling mate. Welcome back to If You See Kayfabe. Here's the real danger in pro wrestling. It's the potential shortening of the well-being and careers of wrestling stars due to the heightening of stunts and dangerous moves because of a belief that every last spot needs to be topped by a more dangerous and spectacular spot. I don't know if they think this is for our gratification or it's just for their own, but the long-term suffering they will go through will be much worse after audiences have moved on to the next big thing. Many decades ago, moves like the pile driver were outlawed. The kayfabe and shoot reasons were that it was a dangerous move. In reality, both parties were in danger of permanent injury. The giver, because he would take most of the impact through his coccyx bone and all the way up through his spine. The receiver, because if they don't take the move right, it can break their neck. Just like what happened when a miscommunication between Owen Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin led to Austin's neck being broken. The same long-term effects have happened with Hulk Hogan and his leg drop, and also with Austin being stunned, and with others. The point here is that these moves aren't as visually impactful as some of the stunts that goes on today, but the long-term damage done to these and other stars is a tragedy. The evolution of the business doesn't seem to be how we can engage the audience better, with better work, better storytelling, but rather who can defy death with an ever-increasing dangerous stunt. I'm concerned at this escalation, as eventually the fans just get burnt out anyway and numbed. Apart from the attempted suffocation and the insertion of a hypodermic needle in someone's mouth recently, we then had the WWE had Drew McIntyre run into a full-blown steel chair spot that had a minuscule margin for error, as well as the unprotected toolbox shot he took to the head. Then Dom Mysterio's partial fall out of the cage. That could have gone horribly wrong, especially since he was near the crowd. Also, even though it was at a lower height, I thought the stunt should not have gone ahead, given the furor and opening of old wounds for Martha Hart after Mr MvMahon's comments on Owen's fall. The comment on what's next, guns, bombs and knives, is becoming more and more apt. Let's get back to brilliant wrestling, cutting-edge promos and storytelling that is compelling. There might just be more eyeballs on the overall product. Now, if you're in Thomastown here in Melbourne on Saturday night, check out Alpha Pro Wrestling. In the meantime, this is Southern Joe, your wrestling mate from down under, saying, hooroo!